Y'all, today we're going to be decorating some Grandma Bachelorette sugar cookies. This theme turned out so cute instead of this color scheme. If you like this type of content and want to learn more about cookie decorating or just like to watch cookie decorating, go ahead and like, subscribe. We would love to have you. Let's get to baking and decorating. So today we're going to be starting out with the quote-unquote grandma bathing suit, and this is how the bride described it. So this is how I'm describing it in the video. So we have our one-piece bathing suit, and I don't know about y'all, but I prefer one pieces now, and that's just me. But I'm going to outline the actual suit part, and there will be 4 different sections of the suit. So you'll see me dividing it up into 4 sections here. So I'm outlining it, and then I'm going to split it up into the 4 sections, and then I'm going to do my little trick with the squiggly lines so my icing for each section is nice and puffy. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to take my flood consistency and I'm going to flood 2 of those sections here so they're not touching, so that way they will not blend together into one whole section instead of having my 2 divided up. So I have my 2 that are not touching, just, you know, they're just diagonal from each other, and then we're going to pop that in the dehydrator and come back and do the other 2 sections. After those 2 sections have dried for about 15 minutes in the dehydrator, I'm going to do the exact same thing with these 2 other sections. I'm going to use my squiggly lines to get that nice puffy icing, and then I'm going to let that harden a little bit and then go back in with my flood icing. Now we're going to go in and add some details to our bathing suit. So I'm going to add the straps with piping consistency. Both of these details are added with piping consistency, which just means like thicker consistency, nothing fancy. And then I'm going to add in cute little polka dots to give it some texture, and you will be all done with your bathing suit cookie. Now we're going to move on to our shell cookie of the set. So shells are kind of complicated if you want them to look like they each have their own section. So you have to go and manually make their own section. So here I am, each section of the shell I'm going to outline with thick consistency, and then I'm going to fill each section in. So when we do go back and flood each section, it'll be nice and puffy, and because a lot of times with small surface areas, it'll tend to sink and you'll get those craters. So we're trying to avoid those craters here. So we're going to we're going to fill in each section with that piping consistency. We're going to basically outline our shell, and then we'll come back with our flood icing in just a minute. Now we're going to go in and we're going to flood in the sections of our shell, but we're going to do every other section because we want to get that effect that each one is its own section. So if we do it all at one time, it would have been pointless to do each individual piece separately. So we're doing it every other, and then we're going to pop that in the dehydrator for 15 minutes and let it dry, and then we'll come back and we'll finish the rest of the shell. So now we're going to take our favorite tool, the projector, and besides my Eddie, and we're going to project the letter that we want to put on this shell. And this is the letter of the bride's new last name. So we are projecting the H, and we are tracing the H on there with some thick white icing. And then we're going to fill in the bottom of that shell. Say hello to my rooster. We're going to fill in the bottom of that shell, and this cookie will be done. Alright, this next cookie is probably one of my favorites in this set. My other favorite I did not get a chance to record, but this one is a champagne bottle, but to fit the theme, we're actually going to use Eddie to print on it. So we are just doing the white part that I want Eddie to print on first. And so I'm outlining the bottom of the cookie, and then I'm going to flood the bottom in, and then I'm going to pop it in the dehydrator for 15 minutes to let it dry. So clearly I forgot to record Eddie printing on this cookie, but I paid for the print off Etsy and then printed it using my Eddie, and it looks beautiful. So here I am taking that same blue from the shell, so the set is nice and cohesive and the colors blend throughout, and I'm doing that thick consistency to make my bow. I'm going to use the same trick where I'm not going to do the sections that are beside each other because I want each section to stand out. So I'm going to do each section, then squiggle it in, and then I'm going to do one section at a time that are not touching each other and fill that in with the flood consistency of the blue. So you see last time I actually also ended up outlining the top of the bottle and then flooding it in, not flooding it, I'm sorry, squiggling it in with some thick icing consistency. And I also added like a little tag at the bottom or the center of the cookie, and I'm going to end up leaving that blank, and it just fits with the rest of the cookies in the set, and you'll see once they're done. But after we finish the top of this bottle, we're going to put it in the dehydrator, and then it'll be good to go and the set will be complete.